Hello, traders. Cousin Benny coming to you from theclosingprint.com, Sunday, the 6th of October, 2024. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll discuss the indices which closed right at a major gamma strike with positive gamma above 5,700. Dealers will continue to buy the dip and sell into strength with major resistance at 5,800 call wall. All things considered, we're starting off the week with 11 bullish indicators, 6 neutral, and 3 bearish, similar to what we saw last week. S&P 500 closed right on a major gamma level at 5750, with the markets finding support at 5700. We start off the week with positive gamma. RSI is above 50 and rising. With the previous dips noted with the green arrows, looking nothing like where we'll start on Monday, with MACD turning up and stochastics firing back above 50. Given the call wall at 5,800 and the support at 5,700, you can see we're at positive gamma as dealers will buy dips and sell into strength above these positive gamma strikes, up to and including the major call wall at 5,800 resistance. The same can be said for the Qs, which closed at 487, major support at 485, where gamma remains positive. Once we drop below 485, though, dealers will start to sell futures on the NASDAQ composite. So we definitely want to stay above 485. Looks like that's going to be the case this week as we closed at the highs of the day, giving us a bullish bias to start the week. As far as small caps are concerned, we closed higher on Friday after a dip, but we still remain in a state of negative gamma, with positive gamma starting at 221, just 2 points overhead. So look for small caps to continue this week with a bullish bias. If we can manage to get above 222, we could get a shot at 224 and then 227 in the short term. The New York Stock Exchange, new highs minus new lows, did close on a positive, with the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline pushing higher. We still need to get back above that recent high, with the advanced decline percent for the S&P 500, mid-caps, small caps, and NASDAQ in descending order, all turning up. That's a positive for breadth. In addition to the S&P Equal Weight Index, which also closed at a high on Friday, giving us a bullish bias to start the week, with the number of stocks above the 20-day turning back up to 64%. And the number of stocks above the 50-day also turning back up after dipping to 73, back to 76%. So while we are a bit overbought, all of the indices are giving us a bullish bias to start the week. Bonds are giving us reason to be more cautious. Those are some of the neutral to bearish indicators to start the week. Junk bonds did drift below the 9 EMA. We're now at the 21-day. So in order for us to stay bullish, we want to be above the 21-day and preferably above the 9 EMA. In addition to junk, we want to keep an eye on the 10-year because that started to shoot higher last week on Thursday and Friday. So this is a bearish indicator for equities. We do want to stay below 4.5%. Currently, we're right at 4%. Not a real threat at the moment, given the Fed has indicated more rate cuts to come. So we did see bonds pull back, TLT, the 20-year, drop below the 50-day on Thursday, and then gap down on Friday. So this is a caution signal, with a third bearish indicator coming from the U.S. dollar, which started to rip higher to start the week. Following through with Middle East tensions ramping up, this should impart some resistance for equities to deal with in the short term. And as most of you noted in the trading room on Friday, we had a big rip in crude oil prices last week, pushing back up above the 50-day moving average going into the second week of October. As far as gold is concerned, that's consolidating at the moment, along with silver, which did close at highs on Friday. Copper Still in a bullish trend, moving higher. This is good for the economy. If we can see this make new highs, given China's stimulus, that should be the case. Overall, bonds, currencies, and commodities are giving us reasons to be cautious, while the equity market closed on a bullish bias across all of the indices, which tells us to look for leadership in those sectors that are strongest on Monday morning. We did see some decent sector performance last week. The S&P 500 growth and value sectors above their bullish 21 EMA. So when we look at transports, semiconductors, crude oil, oil and gas equipment, these are all moving higher. We've got materials moving higher, value sector, communications higher with Meta ripping on Friday, energy, financials, industrials, these all look really good. Technologies rising. Consumer staples holding on to the 50-day. Utilities continue to show strength. Though a little bit of profit taking on Friday with that rip in the 10-year yield. We did see consumer discretionary bounce at the 21-day, bullish, and looking for a follow-through. In addition, we can see XLY versus XLP, consumer discretionary, consumer staples, on a bullish bias. Whenever you see consumer discretionary leading, that's telling you that institutions are not positioned in a defensive posture. In addition to gamma being positive, we're looking for market makers to intraday buy dips and sell into strength, so long as we stay above 5,700. The IBD 50 has quite a few stocks that are looking very strong. In particular, I'd be watching the financials, the industrials, technology, semiconductors, NVIDIA's on the list, with Palantir looking very strong, along with Royal Caribbean. Most of these look like they will continue as we start off the week with a bullish bias. Most of the chips fared well. Wednesday, we had a bounce in NVIDIA, followed through on Thursday, closed with a bullish bias on Friday. So look for prices to test that upper Bollinger Band and that 127.67 pivot. If we can get through that area, look for a test of the recent highs at 131. I like NVIDIA the best at this point. In addition to Broadcom, looks like it's going to test 180 this week. And then all-time highs with RSI rising, indicating the stock has a strong trend. Palantir also at all-time highs. I wouldn't be buying the highs here, but I do like the idea of adding some Palantir to the long-term portfolio. This one looks very strong. Palantir is also on the IBD 50 again this week. Very strong price actions. The company also being added to the S&P 500, but I wouldn't buy it at the highs. I'd wait for the next dip or consolidation. If you're still bullish, you can also sell some put credit spreads and look to get assigned while receiving some premium in the short term. If it doesn't pull back and just keeps going, then you can continue to repeat that process. Arista Networks also very strong. Bullish trend, 921 50-day are all moving higher. RSI is showing strength of trend. Axon Enterprise, this one continues to rip higher. Cloud security with RSI showing muscle. Strength of trend is very persistent. Volume, stochastic, MACD, all bullish. Volume shows institutions picking up shares. Again, another example of a bullish trend and the strength in the markets currently. Many stocks on the IBD 50 look like this, but they are at the highs, so you have to, at a minimum, wait for a little dip. Or if you want to get assigned shares, you can always sell put credit spreads below and wait for the next pullback to actually buy shares. Just something I like to do when trends are so bullish. You don't want to chase a stock, but you still want to be involved in the trend and collect some premium in the interim. Decker's Outdoors also pushing higher, breaking above these recent pivots. The company reports in a couple of weeks. Notice all four metrics are green. Active footwear, apparel and accessories. Looking for Decker's Outdoors to continue higher this week as well. Interactive brokers on the IBD 50 and watch list. We can see lots of volume indicating institutions have been picking up shares. The trend is very persistent. RSI is showing muscle, running away from prices. You could also sell some credit spreads on this one and wait for prices to pull back to actually either get assigned or buy shares on the dip. But to reiterate, lots of stocks look like this going into this week, with the S&P 500 and other major indices on a bullish bias to start Monday trading. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com with your weekend video newsletter for October the 6th, 2024. I'll send out a watch list later tonight around 12 midnight on the East Coast, around 9 o'clock on the West Coast. Be sure to check your inbox for that. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care, and we'll see you in the morning. Ciao.